Now, there we go. The podcast is officially started for the first time. Let's introduce ourselves. I'm Meltmore.
Uh, I'm Dreamer J.
There we go.
Meltmore, I'm Dreamo J.
Vlieg je
What
nu,
are,
broer, Christian?
what
This
are
is a
your
real
real
thing, dude.
fucking names, bro? What is this introduction, dude?
Yeah, dude, you have to. If it is, it's based off YouTube channels. You need a name,
You
some
need a name,
persona.
dude.
Do you want to
Yeah.
know what my YouTube channel name is?
Tell me,
Yeah.
man.
It's Christian Vitrichenko. That's what the YouTube
Dude,
fucking...
okay, so in a perfect world, bro, let's say someone sees you on any sort of social media. They're like, I want to see more content from, and they read your name, Christian Vitrachenko. They go to YouTube search, bro. They sit down. They're like, wait a second, I have to go back.
No, I get it. 100% understand. I'm just pulling everyone's leg at this point.
I know, dude, but I think like this is gonna be something for you as well, man. Like I can see you being in the
Dude.
content creation space
Yeah,
more
dude,
than you can see
imagine
yourself.
your poems, bruv. Compilations of the poems you've made once a week.
I was saying the same thing, but he didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, one day, homies.
You have so much to offer.
So-
It's the way of the superior man to give to the world without being received, Christian.
Yes.
Ah, man.
It's
And-
true.
Until that day comes, homie. For now, I'll be content with being honest and open and just trying. Oh, there we go. I got Discord on my phone. Hot. Let's see.
Life events, dude. Man, I woke up, had a good meal, like got Discord on my phone.
Yeah, dude.
It's going to be
Dude.
better, dude. Like that's the only thing I'm worried about is mic quality.
See, how is the mic quality for me at the moment?
Yours sounds really good, dude. It sounds a little bit echoey. Are you in a small room?
I am in a small room.
Okay, so that's then the room, not your mic. Your mic sounds good.
How does mine sound currently?
It sounds like absolute ass. What have you done?
Really?
No, it sounds fine.
Okay, I'm running it off my phone currently.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we can
I'm
definitely
trying
we
to
can hear
find
you.
my damn earphones that actually correlate to my goddamn cellular device.
Why are you searching for those specifically? Don't you have any other ones?
No, these ones are the ones that work with my phone. The ones I have on my laptop, for some bizarre reason, the port doesn't link properly with my phone. So it just doesn't work. It refuses. It's weird.
I have a single pair of earphones that you're subject to use for the rest of your phone's existence.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I can't fucking find them.
Which is doubly worse.
Whatever.
Dude,
I'll just run without earphones. I can at least hear people. It's fine.
Yeah, that
okay,
sounds
well, I
good.
know what I'm getting Chris for his birthday.
Mm.
Absolutely. I'm
Well,
getting
Chris's
him-
birthday is
My birthday
over.
was like a couple of days ago. What do you
The
want about?
25th of December, dude.
I know.
You're
But
still
I
getting
mean,
birthday gifts, Christian. What do you think, dude? Huh? Like we just haven't seen you again, bro. We've bought gifts, don't you know?
No, you're full of shit.
Ah,
No,
kijk,
I'm absolutely
wacht en
getting
kijk.
something. Absolutely, what I see you
You
get.
guys, nah, guys.
But please
come
tell me, Johan, what are you getting, Christian?
New earphones. One of those.
New
you know those
earphones.
you know the wireless, inserting earphones the Raycons. I'm gonna get him one of those. Those things look brilliant and they're not that expensive.
Yeah, Raycons, dude. I've like every single YouTuber in a 5-mile radius wants to sell me Raycons.
Dude, every YouTuber across the planet wants to sell you Raycons. It's amazing.
Okay, they must be good then, dude. Like if enough people are willing to endorse them, they can't be ultra trash. So who knows?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Christian, now you know what your birthday present is. You don't know your Christmas present though.
Yes. You
Pop it
don't.
out.
You don't know what
You
your
know-
New Year's gift is, dude. Either.
Yeah, you're even more. Getting spoiled. To be completely honest, this is something that's an interesting topic that a lot of people don't know about. In Bulgaria, we actually have this thing called a name day, which is sort of like your birthday, but like discount birthday. Each day, there are days in the year which represent a Bulgarian name. For example, Grigori, or Vili, or something like that. And my name day, which is Christian, falls on Christmas, and I'm also
What?
born on Christmas. So technically, it's like a three
A three-way,
day
yeah.
three
Yeah,
thing
cool.
celebration day.
Did
So
you
it's Christmas, my birthday, and my name day in one day.
Did you
Yo,
demand 3 presents your entire life? I would have.
he just
I
gets like
did.
stonk
Of
present.
course, I did. My parents tried to swindle me and get me one gift for these 3 holidays, and I was like, "Not a fuck! I demand
Not.
three separate damn presents for this."
I deserve 3 separate damn presents. For me, I would have capitalized and probably gotten more expensive gifts, dude. Like one stonks gift.
It happened occasionally, it was like, okay, this year you can combine all 3 of those holidays and get me this uber awesome thing. But at the same time, I tried not to be that fucking spoiled ass child.
But like
that
you
was
were
like
only 2
demand.
kids in your family, right?
So what,
You
bro?
can
So
be
what?
spoiled to be Theo.
Some families can't even afford one damn child.
But your parents could afford 2, dude. So they were
Yeah,
like
if your
4
parents-
times as rich as normal people.
Yeah, if your
Oh,
parents
God.
can do it, they better do it. Like, aren't you? The purpose of a birthday for your kid is to celebrate their birth.
Their existence.
Yeah, dude, you don't skimp on birthdays.
Yeah, it's like,
Christmas, yeah, okay.
like, thanks for existing. Have this pair of socks.
I don't think it's so much about skimping, to be honest, guys. I think it's more like, if we buy this gift for our kid, bro, I don't think we can put bread on the table.
Yeah, okay,
Like,
no. If it's
Unfortunately.
that bad, don't do it. Then
of course,
I
of course, it's
understand.
that bad sometimes. I mean, you'd be surprised how often that happens.
Yeah,
No.
like
Of course it's that
especially
bad,
in
yeah.
today's world, dude. I
Yo,
saw
bro,
some scary
the amount
statistics,
of
dude.
the amount of fucking cushioning we've had from the rest of the damn world, it's astounding. We're so unaware how much of the population actually doesn't have the resources or the capabilities to provide the things for their kids. This is an interesting fact as well, is that people have stopped. People are trying to get others to stop saying that Santa brings kids whatever they want, because now kids that are going to school, that are among their friends, that are like fucking 8, 9 years old, these kids are getting like tablets for Christmas, and they said, yeah, Santa brought me a tablet this year. Can you imagine the kids that ask for a tablet on Christmas and their parents are unable to provide for this thing, and they feel terrible. They're failing their child, even though they're doing everything they can. I mean, it's morally degrading, as well as just a horror
Yeah,
in
dude.
general.
I saw some statistics that said like 80% of parents never talk to their kids about money, how to work with money,
Yeah,
how to
dude.
like create wealth for themselves. And it's because of that disconnect where kids become so spoiled, or they become so like they lose self-worth because their parents can't afford these things for them. And the reason that's happening is because of like a societal base to not teach us about money, dude. Like I wish we were
the
just
thing is-
more educated about this stuff.
The thing is, dude, you can teach a kid anything. I know people are really scared to talk to their kids about things because they want to protect them, but that's worse off. To protect the kids, you have to inform them. And to talk about why you can't get certain things and how certain things work, even though they're young, like even if you're 8 or 9, you're not stupid.
Dude,
You
kids
still
are
have a
smart, dude.
grasp, dude. I remember
And
when
they're
I was
getting smarter.
yeah, dude. I'm just a funny kind of side note is I remember when I was watching The Expanse and they were talking about like nuclear fission or something like that, and the guy goes, "Oh yeah, that was grade 6 work. You can't even count that anymore." And it's really true. Like if you go look at maths and stuff, it's just getting harder and harder, and they're pushing it earlier and earlier on people. So kids are being forced to get cleverer. So our kids are going to be
Yeah, but
smarter than us.
here's the flaw. Here's the flaw in the system as well. Is they sort of the education system has come to sort of expect kids to have tablets and have these advanced technological devices, whereas a lot of parents are incapable of providing that. Hence, they get pushed out of the education system almost, which is like forcibly excluding a huge majority of the population. So some of them don't get the chance to be educated the way the rest of them are. That just creates more of a gap. You know
It's
what I
true,
mean?
bro. But remember, dude, we live in an age where almost everyone has access to the internet somewhere. Not everybody has
Not as
smartphones.
easily, not as
Dude,
easily as the rest of the population.
bro, like
Some people are still
it's
using
dude.
incredibly old technology
I know,
to
bro.
get access to the internet.
But
They do have access to
let's
it.
talk about South Africa right now, dude. I was in a clothing store like a week ago or so, and I was walking through the little aisle to pay for my stuff, and I look over to one of those cabinets that has those smartphones in them, and they're selling full flat screen, like touch screen cell phones for 2,000 rand these days. 2,000 rands, you can have yourself a smartphone that is like arguably as good as a smartphone was 4 years ago, and
The thing is,
it's only going to get better and cheaper from now on. People
the
have
big thing
access
is,
to this technology and they have access to so much information. I don't think you have an excuse to be uneducated anymore.
There is an excuse, homie, because think about, for example, buying data. Do you know how expensive it is to get 5 gigs of data a month for a year?
Dude, you don't need 5 gigs of data for a month or for a year, dude. Like actual documents and like the knowledge that you need isn't that resource intensive, bro.
But they don't know that.
the thing is, we have a problem and people don't know how to use the internet. Yes, it might be accessible, but do you know how many people have no idea what you can do with it or how to
Yeah, dude.
utilize it?
People think the
It's-
internet is Facebook, YouTube, and
Yeah.
Instagram, dude.
Dude, do you know how many? The first time I found out about being able to go online and like look up peer-reviewed papers
Yeah.
was at Varsity, dude. At Varsity
At
was the
varsity.
it was the
Yes.
first time because I'd never been exposed to it. My entire life was playing video games and watching YouTube.
Yeah,
I was
but
an educated
Johan,
kid.
think about your level of exposure as well. You are far more exposed than majority, 99.9% of the population. The rest of them, they did not have this exposure. So think about their level of knowledge. I mean, it's laughable.
Dude, my gran once told me that the person that works for her, she goes to drop her off at home every day after work or whenever she comes in. And she walked in there the one day and her kid was sitting on the floor with a plank over his crossed legs doing maths. That's all they had to work on. And if that's what, like if 60% of our populace at the moment is in that. Did you know that there's over 70% of the people in this country earn less than 15,000 a month?
How do you live off of less than 15,000 a month? How do you even pay rent?
Dude, like how?
And the worst part is you're living off of 15,000 rand a month in this country. 3,000 rand of that goes to taxes.
Yep.
Yeah.
5,000 rand
So
goes
so
to
you're
your house.
technically living off of 12,000 rand a month.
Mhm.
And say
And
you
then-
got a cheap place that's about 3,000 rand a month. So that's 9,000 rand you can live off of. How do you pay for a school
Your
with that amount
car,
of money?
your food,
Dude,
your living expenses, dude.
like
It's impossible, man. And the problem is that I think it's designed that way, dude, because they want people to get in debt, and debt is the new slavery. Because as soon as you take on debt, and especially when you take on a significant amount of debt, for the period of time that you have to pay that debt off, you are technically owned by a bank. They own your time, and you have to work in order to pay that bank back. Otherwise, your loan and the interest on your loan just gets more and more, and you enslave yourself longer and longer.
and
that's
eventually they
horrible.
take all your stuff.
Exactly, dude. It's absolutely terrifying that this is what's almost expected of humanity these days.
Yeah, dude. Man, I think I'm genuinely optimistic for Starlink. I'm very optimistic because I think it's going to be a decently cheap way for people to have a very good connection to other people. Because you know how you learn that you have it well is Chris, do you have a bird outside?
Yeah, sorry.
Kill that
The
bird
Hardy
right
Gaza
now,
doesn't scream.
Christian.
Murder
Go
it,
get the
throw it with a
gun
stone.
and shoot that bird dead.
Fuck that bird. Listen to me. What's the price for Starlink?
It's gonna be $800 up front for the hardware, I think, is like the estimates right now, and then $80 a month for gigabit down, dude, unlimited.
$800.
For the hardware, dude. Yeah.
$800. How many people can afford that?
Bruh, the people that need to afford it can afford it.
No, I wouldn't be so sure.
Dude, do you think the average layman needs gigabit down and 22 millisecond global ping? No. But, like, let's say for instance, bro, I can, in my neighborhood, buy one of those, dude. And then, with my gigabit internet bandwidth, I can distribute the internet to my local community, bro. It's very easy.
Dude, and it's going to be a lot cheaper than what we're currently
Yeah,
paying.
dude.
Do you
Like,
know
you have to
what
run
I'm
infrastructure to have internet anywhere else in the world. Now you buy one thing that you plug into the wall and point
I
at the
think
sky.
I think
and
we're
you have internet.
underestimating. I think we're underestimating just how much capital people have.
Bruh, I think you're underestimating how much capital people are willing to put into technology like this.
At the expense of what?
At the expense of their time, dude. That's exactly what people use to buy things.
I don't know. Actually, now that you mentioned with what capital, it's really hard to take an estimate on it, because if you walk around most places, 99% of people you see have a smartphone. Like, even in the most poor places you can find, they somehow always have a smartphone. So it's become so integral to our part of life to have access to the internet and this capability. I actually think people are very willing to spend money, but that being said, the people who are willing to spend money are people who I'm gonna call it internet aficionados. It's not but it's people that use it often and people that spend a lot of time on it, which I think is quite a majority of people, especially young people.
Dude, my 75-year-old grandma has Wi-Fi, dude. So, like, I think we're in an age where it's only going to get more and more prevalent in our.
Dude,
in our
imagine.
I don't know, homie. When's the last time, specifically in South Africa? I'm not talking about the rest of the world, but for example, specifically South Africa, because we are kind of behind the times. I don't know the last time you guys properly drove through a township. I look around and I sometimes get this feeling these people are so invisible to our own perception. We don't even take into account how many of them still don't have smartphones.
See, I will agree with you, because I read something from Jordan Peterson. You know that experiment they do with where they have like some people in a TV have bounce a ball between each other, and then they ask you to count how many times the ball bounced, and then they have a gorilla walk through and you don't notice the gorilla. I don't know if you've ever done that.
I've watched that video as well, dude. Like, he becomes invisible to you because your focus is so like lasered
Yeah.
on that ball.
But it's a physiological thing, because vision is expensive, man. It's
Yep.
hard to see things.
Yeah, it's it's like neural processing that you have to do for each little like second of image.
And you'd be
something-
surprised how many people choose not to see things.
Yeah, of
but
course, dude.
That's
of
exactly
course.
it, dude. So what happens is it's something stupid. Like each millimeter of the central part of your cornea requires 10,000 neurons to be able to interpret what's happening in
Sweet
there.
Lord.
And so what ends up happening is
Sweet Lord, 10,000 neurons.
Yeah, dude, it's something ridiculous. So we don't have the luxury of infinite processing power. So we tend to automatically yeet things away that we do not care about. So we're a very, very narrow-minded people, in the sense that we only see what we want.
This is actually a conversation I had with Estienne a while back in terms of stage light, or what the fuck did I call it?
You call it spotlight vision and strobe light
spotlight.
vision.
Yeah, there we go. Spotlight vision compared to peripheral vision.
And I'm gonna assume that it's in the light of spotlight.
Do you mind if I talk a little bit about me, like the stuff that you told me? So, like, what Christian told me is basically like, I don't know which eye it is, but with one of our eyes, we basically use it as a spotlight. and we use that eye. I think it's my right eye. I use it as a spotlight. So when you're looking at something and you're really focusing on it, and you're like, you want to discern detail, for instance, like looking at someone's facial expressions, and then your left eye in that case would be then your strobe light or your peripheral vision. So in that case, instead of looking someone in the eye, with the left eye, you're looking at their entire body or their entire head. And things literally become invisible to you when you use only that focus eye, because everything else you don't focus on, again, coming back to what you said, Johan, about the expansiveness of like vision, it sees like, okay, I'm focusing on this thing, so all of the other information is just noise. And as soon as your brain makes that distinction that anything else is noise, then it just switches it out, dude. And it's kind of impressive how well it does it.
It is. And then we also end up in a spot where we miss portions of a populace because we always tend to do things the way we're under, or the way, even on small scale. If we do something on a small scale, we tend to do it on a big scale because it's the only way we know. So on a big scale,
this is something that Alan Watts talks about as well, is the consequences of consciousness. That it is a gift and a curse. The problem with consciousness, it tends to be very spotlight vision.
Yeah,
it tends to be very focused on a single thing at a time, and
I think it has to be, dude. That's the thing, because
it throws away the broadness of peripheral vision. So the point about consciousness is that we're so capable of focusing on a single target. We're so capable of acknowledging for everything that is about that single thing that we tend to ignore everything around it. And so the mark of someone that is incredibly capable and incredibly perceptive, it is the ability to acknowledge more than that spotlight vision. We're starting to see things as not separate. It's supposed to be all of it, as it has always been, is connected. The illusion of separation is the problem we're faced with right now. Not only as an individual, but as a species, we are so fucking.
You see it in society
separate.
as well, bro. People are living their own lives, and that's the only thing they have concern for. Like I've recently, one of the quotes I'm really trying to interpret into my life is, "Be kind to people for no reason." And every time I say that, I get like this rush of just feeling down my body, because it's so true, dude. And it's something that is so easy for us to do, and yet we see it as like, oh, okay, well, I'm going and doing this and I'm doing this, and then because it comes back to that like focus vision, you're so focused on where it is you're going that you're not seeing anything while you're going there. And it comes back to something that Alan Watts said about life as well, how it's this dance, this journey towards like existing. You're not going towards dying, you're just going towards the experience of being.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying. It's a composition. So like I told you a while back as well, about how a lot of people currently are looking for the end product, is they don't want to go through the journey to the end product, whereas it's actually the journey that matters the most. If a song were to be the end note, it would just be dun! That would be the end of the song.
I remember reading something as well where somebody said that life is not about dying, life is about living. You really, but you need to sit down and actually focus on more things than just your death and you yourself. But that's very hard to do if you've never noticed anything else. We really struggle to see things that we don't know are there. Finding things.
Sorry, dude. No, I wanted to say, like, it makes me think what you were talking about. It makes me think about the id, ego, super ego, like the what's it called? I forgot the psychologist's name.
You mean what?
Popular psychologist, had a lot of mommy issues. Freud.
There
we go.
Yes.
Yeah, Freud. So Freud had this theory where when you're born as an id. Like you're just existing. And an id wants everything done for it and doesn't want to do anything. And when it doesn't get its way, it complains. So that's
Yeah,
basically what you are as a baby. Then, as we grow up to about the age of like 6 years old, we become an ego. And when you become an ego, that id that you used to be starts to attach himself onto different things. Attaches, like for instance, I like pineapples. So now this id says, I like pineapple. It's the I am that again. So I am a happy person. I am prosperous. Da 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 da. You're adding all of these things to the id, which becomes your ego. But people kind of get stuck with that ego part, and they become
Yeah,
so
they do.
attached to that ego that
You're
they,
completely right.
yeah, dude,
You're completely right. They actually start building more and more on top of that ego.
yes, they keep attaching points to that id.
Life is supposed to be more of a wave. Just like in physics, it's supposed to be an up and a down.
Mm-hmm.
It
Don't
has
be a
to get to the
particle,
point
be
where
a wave, dude.
it has to get to the point where you have to let go of so what you said about attachment, right? For example, I like pineapples. If you liked pineapples so much that one day pineapples got taken away from you and you can't live without the pineapple, I mean, what are you?
Exactly, dude. And that kind of comes back to like the third level that Freud talks about, where he talks about the superego. And the superego is the part of you that actually has moral values. Like the part of you that shares his food with someone, even though technically to you, it doesn't benefit you giving your food to someone else. It's the part of you that has that need to protect others. And that is, I believe, what we should tend towards, our divine selves, our higher selves, our spiritual selves, whatever you want to call it. It keeps tending towards this capacity in us to be better human beings when we choose to be better human beings.
And the thing is, dude, that's a choice.
Yep.
It's a really hard choice to
It's an
make.
Do you know
active
why
choice
it's a,
as
do you know
well.
why do you know why it's a hard choice?
Please feel
No.
free.
But because it involves pain and sacrifice. It involves the possibility of disappointment.
It's not easy. That's the thing.
Dude, it is not easy. That's exactly it. But
that's what makes it beautiful at the same time, is you're presented with these incredibly difficult odds, the small percentage of success, and you still choose to follow that direction despite everything that's stacked against it, because you believe in it.
dude, it's the thing where
You want it to be a reality.
yeah, you can't have happiness without sorrow. It's just impossible, because how would you know? Eventually, what's going to happen is
Yeah.
happiness will just become a bore, because if happiness is a constant state, what else is there?
And that's the fucking horror of what we're currently fed as a collective being, as humans in this global society, is we're fed the idea that you should always be happy, and if you're not, then you're doing something wrong. And I firmly don't believe in that. I cannot agree with that, because the universe is a 1 and a 0. It is pain and happiness. It is
Darkness and light. That is
you
gravity or lack of.
you cannot live constantly thinking that you can be happy all the time. There is no wrong emotion, as Alan Watts says. If you feel hate, you feel hate for a reason. You can't lie to yourself and say, I'm not feeling hate right now. I am completely good and kind and full of just good energies and good. The universe is not full of good energies.
No,
It's not.
nature isn't.
I
Nature
think
is
the
not.
universe
Nature-
is. Well, I have like a theory about this as well. I believe our universe is 60-40 when it comes to good versus bad. Because at 40%, evil has just enough presence to always be a threat, but never enough power to be a problem. And
So why should it not be 50-50?
because if it was 50-50, it become mundane again, dude. Like we have this enjoyable
No, it
life
wouldn't.
experience.
No,
Yeah,
it wouldn't.
dude.
There would be a complete balance.
I don't think so, dude. Like it comes back to, if you knew everything was 50-50, you would just walk through life basically be a perfect being. Like it would be too easy. Again, it would come down to like all of the flavor, all of the difficulty, all of the surprise that pain can kind of catch us with will go away
The
because
question is, sorry, continue.
because when you have that pain present in your life, especially when it's like a 40% type of pain, you're not constantly in pain, but when the pain hits, it comes back to it being a significant emotional event. If you're so used to pain being always there alongside your happiness, like as a fluctuating wave, like, okay, happy today, sad tomorrow, happy today, sad tomorrow, happy today, sad tomorrow, that would be 50-50. But it's never like that, dude. We have a lot of good days, and then we have a few not so good days, and then we have a lot of good days and a few not so good days.
If you think back through memories that you have, how many of them are good compared to how many of them are bad? Most of my memories that I have are decent to really good.
Yeah, I agree.
More than bad. 100% more of the memories I have is good than they are bad. And I understand that in some people's lives it's the other way around. That's also a total possibility. Not everybody's life will work in that 60-40. Some people will have a
But
40-60.
you have to understand, Johan. Those are the memories you chose to keep.
Yep. And
Those
Christian,
are the
can I
memories.
use you
Those
as
are
an,
those
as
are
an
the
example?
memories you chose to concentrate on.
Because
Yeah, which
I
is
believe
fair.
as well, the amount of pain you are subject to experience kind of comes back to the amount of happiness and the amount of positivity and the amount of like blessed you are in your life. So Christian, you are an amazing person, dude. You're a beautiful human being. You're a writer, you are a creative person, you are a good friend, you are, in my opinion, I've never seen you in a relationship, but I believe you would be an amazing boyfriend as well. And because we are doing things right in our lives and we are experiencing these subjectively good feelings, we are then in turn subjected to bad feelings, or can be said arguably worse feelings, if you understand what I mean. And I think like that's an aspect of what you're going through right now, Christian.
Yeah, I don't know. It's such a complex thing with so many different variables that dude, another question that I have, which is always such an interesting part to me, and it either leads to a total oneness with life, or an interpretation with reality. Because the question that I've actually not been struggling with, but with thinking about a lot, is the question of the mind-body problem versus being totally our brain. Because the more I learn about what chemistry in the brain can do to you as a person, even consciously, I mean, something like bipolar is literally a chemical imbalance in your brain. It's not that you can willpower through it. It's just you're going to be one day sad and the other day happy just because your brain chemistry is causing it. So
And
the
not even
question,
just your brain chemistry, dude. It comes back to like your body chemistry as well. Like as you said, it's a mind-body relationship. And our microgut bacteria produces 80 to 90% of our serotonin. Like think about that number. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it proves to me that the food you put in your body, the exercise you do, the way you treat your body, like hygiene wise, all of these things contribute to either less or more serotonin. And more often than not, people that are bipolar, I believe, because I have bipolar people in my family, and let me just speak about my family members instead of generalizing, they aren't living healthy lives, not with their diet, not with exercise, not with their habits. And I believe all of these things contribute to the being that you end up being at the end of your life.
I sometimes think that a healthy life is a privilege.
A privilege?
I don't know, that takes away from our power as being free and conscious beings. Because even if you're in a really bad situation, you should still, this is me speaking from a theoretical point. I'm sorry if some people don't have this, but if you are in a bad situation, maybe there should always be some type of light you can find.
It's true, dude. And you know what the best
There
light
will
that is,
there will always be light, no
dude?
matter where you are, no
The
matter
best
how
light you can
bad it can
find,
get.
bro.
One of my favorite quotes from Harry Potter that is actually my WhatsApp status is happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. I maintain that this is one of the wisest things that J.K. Rowling ever wrote.
And it's a
Happiness
good one
can
as
be
well, dude.
found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on
Turn
the
on the
light.
light. Yeah, dude. And like
And
for me,
that's why I argue about privilege, because sometimes we're put in such a dark position that it becomes incredibly difficult to remember to turn on the light.
I 100% agree, but that still doesn't mean it's an excuse not to.
yeah, dude.
Even in the toughest times, you need to somehow or with somebody's help try and pull yourself out of that.
That sounds like an ideal expectation.
It is. It is an
Dude,
ideal
Whereas
expectation.
if empathy is introduced into the picture, you can understand why some people cannot turn on the
Yes,
light.
I can. I
bro,
can.
it comes back to like I believe our senses as well, dude. So we're living in a very cool three-dimensional world, and technically sound is four-dimensional in its own. So I believe it can be seen as another dimension as well. And when you become aware of these dimensions of experience that we are allowed to experience, our sense of taste, our ability to feel our clothes or our like soft blankets, our ability to smell flowers, to listen to music, and then to experience all of these things as an amalgamation that becomes you. Like when you become consciously aware of how much you have, even if you have no money, even if you don't have legs, like you can keep cutting away until you only have 1 cent left. And even if you only have 1 cent left, you'll still have something to be grateful for.
It's like the thing. I remember reading a thing. I can't remember who said it, but he said that genius mentality is less about your intellectual capabilities and more about your habits and rituals.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I've been doing recently that illustrates me that habits are more than just what you do. Habits is a way that you think. And something I've been doing recently that's been really enjoyable and it's been making me enjoy life a lot more is we have a pool and it was raining the other day. And every now and again, a big drop would fall in the rain and cause a ripple to go through, and then small drops would hit it. And all I was sitting and doing for 30 minutes was imagining what the atoms of the water were doing as the big one drops, pushed everything around as the other small ones dropped, causes interruptions, the power of the previous atoms pushing through the wave. And eventually you get to this point where the simplest things, such as a raindrop, becomes this universe of things and forces colliding that trying to think of it in a computer science sense of trying to render and cause these I don't know, phenomena to
You'll
happen.
need so much processing power.
It is almost impossible to picture. And for me, that becomes such an important part of life, of recognizing the gift that this plane of existence, or whatever you want to call it, is.
Yeah, dude, I agree completely, man. And it's becoming aware, dude. It's becoming aware that is the most important thing. And that's
But
where
that,
the whole being woke thing comes from. Like it's such an overused term, and it's so almost now these days memed. Like, oh yeah,
yeah,
this guy's woke. But really, if you really come down to it, being awake comes down to you seeing the whole, you seeing your own life in like in respect with your family's life, in respect with the people on Earth's lives, with respect to the creatures that you share your space with. I've been thinking so much about insects these last days, where we just have these living like beings going on about their own little lives, procreating, having babies, and then starting that whole cycle over again. And we beings are just okay with it. We're just like, oh, there's a little shongololo on the ground. Okay. And dogs and cats that we just bring into our own houses, where we have these little sentient creatures who have life experiences, who have emotions. I can guarantee you a dog has emotions. and I believe they have spirits and souls as well. And they have so much enjoyment, and you can create so much love and like unity with that animal that you share this experience with. And I feel like it has the capacity
Here's
to
a
go
funny
further than that.
argument. Here's a funny argument in terms of that. That C.S. Lewis also wrote about in The Problem of Pain. The reason that you think dogs have emotion is because they were raised in an environment where you existed. So the energy you produce as a conscious being.
Are you still talking?
An almost human-like nature. Whereas if you were to find them in the wild, with no human interaction involved in their entire lives, you'd see a completely different thing.
I'd
But
still
wouldn't you-
only like if you go and look at elephants, dude. Elephants that were complete. Actually, not elephants, dolphins. You've seen dolphins yourself, bro. Do you want to tell me that the emotions and the way that those dolphins reacted was because of human intervention?
Like I cannot believe that animals do not have emotions, even if they're brought up in a place where humans have absolutely no interactions. I've watched so many videos. I've seen a video of where an elephant walks up to game rangers to ask them and lead them back to where her kid was buried in an anthill. I watched the dolphin swim up to a diver and ask to be cut loose, and then like nod its head and swim away.
There's intelligence, dude.
There's intelligence. Now the question comes back: does emotion correlate directly to brain size and brain chemistry, or is it influenced by something maybe a bit outside of this plane?
I think it comes back to consciousness, dude. Like, I think consciousness is what almost creates the playing ground for emotion to be. Because if you weren't conscious of this reality, how can you form an emotional connection to it, right?
Yeah, that's true. No, because I don't know. With dogs and living with you, it's if it is true, let's entertain the point of dogs have emotions because you influence them. That portrays a huge amount of energy or power that we have over this life.
Or over
If
other beings.
Dude, if we can influence the way a dog interacts with the world, or the way it perceives emotions based off how we perceive emotions, that just inclines that everything on this planet and this universe is 100% linked by something.
But
it's not.
Like, we already know that, dude. Like, we already know that.
But by what? Because
I think it's the consciousness, dude. We're all linked by consciousness. That's the thing. And consciousness in turn is like that center core that as soon as you open your eyes, no matter be it in a bug's head, be it in a dog's head, be it in a butterfly's head, be it in a human's head, as soon as you open your eyes, you experience what I believe is consciousness. And then you're like, oh, wait, I have these limbs that I can move. Okay, and I have this mouth part that I have to use for something. I don't know what yet. And then you learn how to eat because your consciousness and your DNA has intelligence stored in it. And like Tesla, like Nikola Tesla, was one of the most woke people. Christian just dropped one of the most woke people ever. And he was 100% on the whole coils thing. And what is our DNA? Our DNA are coils of information, dude. And for that reason, I believe they amplify. And the reason we as humans have come as far as we have is because we've been gathering this DNA, all of this information for as long as we have. Welcome back, friend.
Sorry, I dropped there.
It's chill, dude. I thought you were done, bro. Like, fuck this. Never coming again.
It doesn't get his way in the podcast, fucking leaves.
Yeah, it just leaves. No, I don't like this conversation anymore. Fortunately, I know Christian will just give you some funny looks if you're saying something he doesn't like.
Yeah, man.
It's not about that. It's everyone You spoke about dolphins, right?
I did.
And you spoke about how Johan, you have seen dolphins swim up to a diver asking for help, right?
Mm.
What makes you think that those dolphins weren't exposed to human behavior before that interaction?
Homie, if you look at their brain sizes and the way they communicate with each other, they have emotional connections with each other, and their lives are basically revolving around community. And you can really see it in the way that they interact with each other. They find new dolphin species like regularly, not dolphin species, dolphin groups. And when they compare the sounds one dolphin group makes on the other side of the world compared to the sounds another dolphin group makes, they have differentiating accents, dude. They speak differently depending on what regions they're from. And that comes back to the consciousness thing, the humanity thing. I believe dolphins are the people of the sea, dude. If you look at their brain size compared to ours, dude, those things must have so much processing power.
It's the same thing. They recently found a pod of whales that have never, ever, ever been documented. And they have the most unique call that
Yeah.
they've ever seen. It's
Dude.
differing from everything else that we've ever encountered in whales.
And that's not human intervention, dude. That's just consciousness expressing itself in different ways. And I believe expressing itself in general.
Dude, Chris, you remember the Blue Planet thing from David Attenborough? I don't know. Can you remember the one video where they're flying a helicopter over a blue whale with her calf? And
Yeah.
as they're swimming, they relaxingly swim, and then suddenly, like, you see the little kid look up, and then you see it get scared, and it slowly swims under its mom, and then its mom like protectively puts a fin over it. What is that? Is that emotion, or is that just instinct?
Instinct.
I
Do
don't
you
agree.
think so? I also don't agree.
I think emotion is incredibly interlinked with instinct.
So, but then are we expressing emotion or a varying of instinct?
What makes you think it's not both?
But dude, like, why would we have emotions like dread out of instinct?
Because it's a survival thing.
But it's not, dude. I'm not being threatened by anything, and yet I still feel dread from time to time.
Why?
Exactly why, dude. Exactly
Why?
It's not
Well,
instinct.
What do you feel dread about?
Dread is about something.
Yeah, dude. Dread. Well, it was just like I was just feeling off this morning. I was telling Johan as well. I was not feeling like myself, and I felt like I don't know. I just had a part of me lacking. I also
Well,
didn't sleep
homie,
very well.
what you are probably experiencing is something that a lot of humanity is currently ignoring. We're faced with a dying planet. We're faced with failing economies and governments. How can you not feel a bit of dread once in a while when you wake up in the mornings?
It's true, dude.
Yeah,
And
it comes back to
it's
the
pressing,
order
yeah,
chaos.
it's pressing past that dread, dude. It's still finding what's beautiful in life, even though we're faced
No,
with all of this dread.
no, homie, as I feel like all of us are so desperately ignoring the dread that it's actually so detrimental currently. That's the thing that we've been poisoned, we've been so brainwashed about, is we're told, ignore the dread, ignore those negative emotions. You're not supposed to be feeling them. It's bad for you. And it's true, it can be bad for you, it can be emotionally taxing and all of these things, but I think to myself, like, we are feeling these things for a damn reason. Why are we bottling them up? Why are we hiding from them? Why are we pushing them to the side and continuing to live our lives like normal human beings? We are completely veiling our own reality.
But then I can
We
play
are
devil's advocate,
we are
homie.
so scared to face it.
Like devil's advocate, what is the alternative?
The alternative.
It's a very difficult alternative. Here's what the alternative is that we all together, almost 8 billion people on this planet, have to make a conscious change, and that is nigh impossible with these odds that are stacked against us.
Dude, it's not the odds, brah. It's the political systems and social
No,
media and
but
just
that
media in
adds
general, dude.
to the odds, my friend. It's part of the fact that there are so many of us.
Yeah.
is that there are so many variables. So, I mean, a human being alone is a combination of a ridiculous amount of variables. Now add 8 billion of those, almost
Variables.
squaring that.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, dude. And unfortunately, I believe people are lacking consciousness, dude.
But
I do believe there's different levels of how much consciousness we have. And at a point, you can decide whether you want to be conscious. It comes back to what we said earlier about the focus thing. You can be like focusing on the dread and the negative things, or you can shift your focus and watch YouTube videos or whatever. And that's mostly what people do. They would rather distract themselves than feel these things. And unfortunately, like it's happening on a global scale, it's happening every single day, and it even happens to the best of us. And I think we're supposed to feel these things, as you said. Like there's definitely a reason for it, but I still agree that it is unhealthy.
Reality isn't gonna wait for us. It's not even gonna wait for 8 billion of us. It won't care. It doesn't care. It never did care. So it doesn't matter how much we try to distract ourselves, how much we try to run away from it. It's not going to wait. It's just going to keep getting worse until we wake up.
We are waking up.
You know, that's the thing. We are, but there's a very
We're
big
not waking up. We're not waking up fast enough.
No, but there's an issue. There's a reason. There is 100% a reason, and it's something that I remember my dad telling me, and it was something that I've made a point to never do. Is with the thing of never talk about religion or politics with people. I think that's the most bullshit thing on this planet. The more you talk about things, the more variation of opinions you can receive, and the more educated response you can make to something. And if we were all able to sit down and have these types of conversations instead of going to party and drinking the dread away, because that's what most and a huge amount of people do on this planet.
That's why alcohol is so popular, dude.
Alcohol is such a good thing for forgetting. And because of that, we have a populace where people are, like you said, they're so scared to face this emotion of dread. Well, I've thought about it. What are you supposed to do when you feel sad? Do you know what I think you do when you feel sad? You sit down and you fucking figure out why you're feeling sad. And if you then figure out why you're feeling sad, can you change why you're feeling sad? If the answer is no, let's say you're feeling sad because, I don't know,
of the state of the world, the coronavirus or whatever.
Yeah, the coronavirus. As much as I would absolutely love to be able to change it, I can't. At that point, it is kind of the move on and kind of focus on the good things. But if you sit down and you find yourself in resentment over a person or something like that, do you know what you need to do? You need to go to that person and tell them why, or talk to them about the reason they're making you feel that way.
It's not that simple.
It isn't, but it should be.
It should be. You're 100% correct. It should be, but it's not.
But do you know how you get it to change?
In reality, it will not help a single thing. It will in fact make you feel worse. Going to this person, you tell them, I resent you and I hate the things that you have done. What will it end up doing? I mean, we're hardwired to forgive ourselves and to move on and to let go of the past. That person will see you as just another obstacle in living their own life. And they will let go of you and they will forget about you. You won't change their life.
No, but you will change yours, which is important.
Yeah, dude.
Even if they don't change, you remember that resentment causes you to hate. And by hating is you can't live up to the proper place that you need to be in your life, which is the kind and caringness. If you sit with this resentment for somebody or something, it's almost impossible to be kind to certain people. You need to get it out. It's the big thing of being able to talk about every single issue you have with somebody. It's good for you, and if it's good for you, you in turn will influence 100 other people.
That is a process in achieving what we're all seeking, which is the ability to handle that resentment on your own. process it on your own, because at the end of the day, nobody is going to do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. Your
Mhm.
friends help. They do. But what you're trying to do is actually find a way to do it on your own.
Yeah, you're just
I
getting
agree.
like encouraged on the way there, bro. It makes me like I also have that thing that I like to say. I can't chemistry for you, dude. And like processing information is just your brain experiencing chemistry.
Johan,
So
Johan, I cannot tell you how much resentment I currently feel for a certain someone in my life.
I have a
How much
bunch of resentment for some people in my life as well.
I have an incredible amount of disappointment, of disbelief, of a raw awe, if I can put it that way. I'm in awe of how they were capable of doing some things with no regret, no
remorse.
remorse. There we go. With no guilt, with no weight upon their shoulders. They were capable of doing it with no repercussions to their own personal well-being. Um, and I can tell you right now, no matter how much you speak to them, no matter how much you tell them about your resentment, that will never ever help you. You
It'll
have to
only
do
hurt
it.
you actually.
You have to process it on your own, and you have to come to terms with it on your own. They won't help you.
See, in that sense, I agree with you. I 100% do, because it's at the very end of everything that is you is only you. You can't know, as much as other people influence you, you have to be able to, yeah, I'm gonna 100% agree with you. It does at the end come down to how you are going to deal with it.
Yeah, and I
And
think in a way, if you're really so like I'm going to speak from personal experience, when you go through adversity and difficult times in your life and you conquer that on your own, especially when you do it completely on your own, you get this sense of like empowerment and it really gives you so much drive and so much perspective and you realize that all of the bullshit you've been telling yourself your whole life is not true and you actually are strong enough alone. And when
You
you
are
come to
all.
that realization,
You are
you're
already
free.
whole.
Yeah, you're already
You
whole.
are. You are already whole. It is your own bullshit that you feed yourself and telling yourself that you're not whole.
Yep, I agree, dude. Because all we need, like right now, is your body. Like you need literally nothing. In the next few hours, your body is going to run out of chemistry, so you have to put water and food back into it so it can run the processes that makes you. But all you don't need a house. You can sleep technically outside these days, like unless it's raining. Like you don't like because all our prayers have been taken care of. And we no longer have this like food shortage where you have to go and hunt for your own food or whatever. All you need is you, like you can be, and people keep attaching, it comes back to the ego thing, people keep attaching things to themselves like, oh, I just need this car, I just need this house, oh, I just need this smartphone, then I'll be happy.
The worst thing that people do these days in terms of falling in love is they put the responsibility of happiness upon another person,
Yeah,
their own happiness upon another person. That is the opposite of love.
yeah,
yeah,
because you're literally going into that relationship with a taking mentality and you should be giving. That's like the only way for a relationship to work. Both
it's
sides give, and then that center union, which is your relationship, is the one that benefits. When one of the two wants to take too much, that creates an imbalance, and imbalances in nature are appalled.
no, it's a weird thing where in everything that you do, you need to get to the point, and this is something else I think is a bit of an enlightened thought, is the ability to realize that in every situation you are giving, not taking. In everything you ever do, whether it is making YouTube videos, whether it is making carpentry, whether it's doing somebody else's taxes, you're always giving from yourself. But it needs to be viewed in that way. Because if you view it in that way, then you are viewing yourself as a complete person who is giving to the world. rather than having to be in a position where he needs to take to feel better.
Yeah, dude, that's beautifully put.
Look, I will say this. There are some times in life where especially if you've been promised something. So again, speaking from personal experience, someone promised me that they would go through thick and thin with me, that they would be there for me when I needed them most, that no matter what happens, we would communicate honestly and openly, that we would stick together, fight through all of the difficulties that life presented us. And when I needed them most, they said, "This is too much for me to handle. Good luck."
Yeah, dude. And again, I've said this to you like maybe 50 times. That's a reflection of them,
That's
not
what I
of
was
you.
about to say. Remember that nothing anybody ever does to you
It's because
is
of you.
because of you.
Mm-hmm.
It is a reflection of themselves that they portray. I read that in The Four Agreements, which is one of the greatest books I've ever read. Please go read it if you've never read it, genuinely. But no, that was one of the most profound things I've ever read. Is nothing anybody ever does to you is because of you. It's just because of them.
Yep. Like it comes back to like one of my favorite Stoic quotes as well, is men are not disturbed by things. They're disturbed by their thoughts about things.
I'll speak from personal experience here as well. I've had somebody torment me throughout life in certain ways, some emotional, and 99% of the time, or actually no, I have finally realized why it was happening. And it was such a profound thing to realize that I never did anything wrong. Everything that was done to me was a reflection from their utter destruction when they were younger. And I feel pity. I
Yep.
genuinely am sad for this person, not angry anymore, because nobody should go through something so bad that they're willing to do what they do to you. That is horrible. Nobody just ups and leaves because of, or nobody can just abandon. You have to be abandoned first, which is, at least that's how I think it happens.
No, but that is also a weakness on their side because they could not rise above that.
Absolutely.
They went and they put that upon another human being instead of rising above that.
100%.
Yeah, dude, and that
agree.
comes back to the whole cycle of like hurting ourselves and hurting the people around us, because that's kind of what's happening in society right now, with people getting into these like 2-month relationships, posting on Facebook how this is the love of their lives and how they can't believe they've never found them before, and then 2 months later, relationship is over and they're looking for someone again to be the love of their lives. And it's this constant like abandonment, reattachment, abandonment, and it's so destructive. And it comes back to like the thing you said about being a memory vault. Like you're putting, for let's say you were in a year relationship. For a year, you're putting information into your body with this person. They are literally becoming a part of you and your neurochemistry. So if you do
100%.
that over and over and over again with different people that you don't really want to share consciousness with, or not exactly share consciousness with, maybe just
You're
share.
losing yourself.
Exactly, dude. You're literally
You are losing
you're cutting
yourself.
pieces of
You are
yourself out.
corrupting
Mm-hmm.
and you are injuring yourself.
Yeah. And that's and sadly, people don't see it that way because they feel that hurt within themselves, and then they kind of identify that hurt as, oh, I'm lonely, and then they get in a relationship
That's
again.
why some people really are beyond salvation in terms of other people. Some people are so whole and so strong in who they are that they are almost speaking a different language to these people that have lost themselves over and over again. Those people are incapable of understanding each other.
No, because the thing is, dude, they have convinced themselves that what they're doing is I'm going to call it the holy path. Their absolute purpose is what they're currently living. and they're so blind to the fact that what they're actually doing, because it's so steadfast in their belief that they are right.
Yeah,
That's
and everybody wants to believe they're right at the end of the day. That's the sad thing about it as well. And like we all don't have the same amount of information, so we can't all be right about the same things.
dude, and you have to be willing to admit when you're wrong.
Yeah.
It is such a big part of life to be wrong about things. I will be the first person to say, "Yo, I'm sorry. That was not. I was wrong when I've said something." Because if you can't accept that you are wrong, you are implying that you are
Right.
absolute perfection,
Yeah.
which
Here's
you are
here's
not.
here's the interesting catalyst for what you're saying. Imagine a person that was raised their entire life on the beliefs of Christianity, Catholicism even, let's take it to the extreme. One day they are told that everything that they believe is fundamentally wrong in terms of the laws of the universe. They have spent their entire lives following this structure and following these beliefs that they cannot, to
Fathom.
themselves, change that outlook anymore. They've
And
spent, let's say that a 60-year-old person that has followed Catholicism for 60 years is told that Catholicism is wrong and it is
factually
not
incorrect. Yeah.
Dude, somebody
it is not factually correct. That person cannot turn back from that point.
And you
But
know
I-
why that is, homie? Like, there's actually a biological reason for that. And it's called, drum roll please, the default mode network. And if you can't reprogram that within yourself, and like there's a lot of ways that we can do that, and it's going to be a chat for another podcast, but you need to be aware of your default mode network, and you need to be able to recognize that you aren't always right. You aren't a perfect being, as Johan says. And if you can recognize that, you can change yourself. You can, like, that's the thing. I do believe that I'm always asking the question of what is the ultimate truth. And as long as I'm alive, I will keep asking what is the ultimate truth. Because as soon as I stop asking that question, I will accept one or another. And I refuse to accept just
homie.
one.
Yes, I agree with you. But some people are so fundamentally fucked.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is that they have been so
See,
prodded at and converted and blueprinted upon.
Brainwashed even, dude.
but
They
I'm
they
gonna
have been so convinced. It's like assassin training. What the Turks did to the Bulgarians back in the day, they raised them as janissaries, and part of the training was when you were a kid, you were forced to go into your parents' home and kill them.
Yeah,
That's horrible, dude.
that's beyond fucked up.
That's the scale that we're talking about, if not even more extreme than that. And you're
No.
expected to change your mentality after that. I'm sorry, it's not so easy.
See, but there are people that can do it, and you need to
Yes,
attempt at least.
of course, there are people that can do it, but you cannot expect that from the majority.
But
No, that I
homie,
will agree.
I don't want to live in a world where I can't expect things of the majority. Because I believe as soon as we start to disregard some people, or like as we said, and I know like I can be sometimes a hypocrite with saying what I'm saying right now, but I still don't want to give up on the masses. Like I believe that we are awakening as a species. As you said, Christian, not fast enough. But I believe with what we're doing right now and what we do in every single day, we can speed up that awakening process, dude. And that's what our life goals is.
We've been awakening for millennia, my friend.
It takes a while, dude.
It takes a fucking while. It like takes some time to make some eggs, dude.
No, it takes a lot of cracking of eggs. It takes genocide and world wars and racial horrors and God knows what else, and sexism and fucking
Like
pedophilia.
coronavirus and like we've
I
gone
can
through
get to
all
write
of this
down.
hectic shit, dude. Don't you see that we're coming to a point, dude? Like there's a critical point that is approaching, and we are living in that critical point.
No, mate, that critical point is continuously ahead of us, as we are always striving for it. We will never reach it. The point is we're trying to get closer, like an exponential equation.
I don't agree, dude. I don't agree. I can guarantee you, bro, this world is not going to be recognizable to you in 50 years, man. Not humanity.
100%. I
Like,
don't disagree with that fact. Like I said, it's an exponential equation. Is that we have changed so much in the last 200 years that there is so much that's still going to change in the next 50 years. The
mhm,
point is we are never going to reach perfection, and it is something that we will always strive towards.
that's true. But I believe that's just divinity, dude. That's just the divine intelligence within you wanting to be its best self. And then in wanting to be its best self, it becomes its best self and then creates itself in return, dude. And then that whole process starts over again, right? Whatever interpretation you want of it.
Dude,
You tell me how the dinosaurs feel about that, bro.
They feel pretty carbon, dude. Like they're part of the ground again.
No. They feel pretty damn gasoline about it, mate. They feel pretty damn
dead.
fueling our damn cars to get to work about it right
Driving
now.
dinosaurs to work, dude.
Oh, dude, that's brilliant. That's such a good way to.
But it is what it is, homie. Like, I do believe that they weren't us, dude. But in the same way that we are us, they were them, of course. And then they died, bruh, and they didn't have the potential. I believe that. So let's say in a perfect world, meteor never strikes Earth. Dinosaurs would have evolved to the point where they became like technological beings, and they would have probably created a whole
The
society as well.
velociraptors. The
Yeah,
velociraptors.
100%. They would have been the thriving ones because they were small enough not to have to eat too much and like fast enough to be able to evade the predators.
And also group tactics.
Yep, they were smart. They could like communicate with each other. And wouldn't that be cool, dude? Like imagine a world where we are reptilians. And maybe they are reptilians. Bum bum bum. Conspiracy theory podcast now. Let's talk about the reptile people.
Let's start with Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk.
Don't lump Elon Daddy in with this, dude.
Yeah, Elon Daddy.
Elon Daddy is a reptile, and we all know it.
No, dude, I won't believe it. Elon
I would be
is
the
a role
first
model.
person. I'd be the first person to claim Elon is not from this planet.
I think he's alien, but I don't think he's reptile.
How do you think people felt about Newton and Einstein?
Bro, no, dude, do you know what's something? Imagine living as a common peasant with Archimedes. Do you just imagine trying to wrap your brain around
Marcus
what that man was doing?
Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, dude, I'm
versus
just
the
trying to wipe
commoners.
my ass right now, and this guy's coming up with the most ridiculous shit. Like, dude, imagine the people living with Pythagoras. Like,
Dude,
This guy's like Huang math, dude, complex math, and like I barely know
bruh,
how to count.
complex math. People didn't even know how to fucking draw back in that day.
Dude, if you look,
This guy came up with the most profound things, like fucking degrees in a triangle. Are you fucking kidding me? What does that even mean to people back in the day? They were just trying to fucking raise some chickens and like bone their wife, bruh.
can I just, do you know what blew my mind for the first time was, do you know when we figured out how to make two tones in music? How to make it sound good? In the 14th century. We work one backwards. In the 12th century, so the 1300s. Before that, music was a one-tone thing. We couldn't figure out how to make two melodies coexist in a song.
I feel like I disagree with you in that sense. I'm pretty sure cavemen had music, mate.
Yeah, but not in the like complex form that we have it now. Not nearly. It was one instrument that would play a couple notes, yeah. But the combination of being able to tie multiple instruments together and make a coherent song. The first one we have that's properly recorded was the 13th century, somewhere in like 1354, I think 1358 maybe. Is that like, bro? It is stupid. Yeah, we had things like church mass songs. I can't remember what they're called now. They are from like the 800 BCE and AD. Yeah, I'm just remembering if we changed it because we changed BC to BCE just to make it not as biblical. So yeah, in 800 AD, it was the first time that we started documenting like music for prayer, and it was one tone of up, down, up, down. The stuff that we figured out in the last 2,000 years is incomparable to the last 10. Like the exponential growth that we as a species are maintaining in technological advancements, it's either going to be a true exponential curve, which is a possibility, like you say, where we actually don't figure out anything and we just keep ramping up to where we can build mega structures as if it's building a speaker, or we're at some point going to actually reach godhood, where we have an answer to everything, and it's just a question of which one happens.
But that's what we're trying to achieve, isn't it?
It is.
That's what we're achieving.
The next epitome is godhood. We want to be gods.
We already are.
In comparison to 10,000 years ago, yes.
Yes, absolutely. That's very true. I mean, a lighter, dude. I'm sitting playing with one in front of me. I press a button and it makes flame. No, like,
bro,
no
I have
issue.
a constant burning flame right now, smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. Imagine showing somebody Bluetooth. Magic. Somehow, without me being able to see, touch, or interact with it, I am sending something from my computer to my earphones. It is. We will. I wonder where tech will end. I wonder what point.
It won't.
It won't, dude. That's the thing. Because we have one of two options. Either we stop right now, or we never do. And we're not stopping right now. So
yeah, we're not going to stop.
Like that's the thing. Like so, what I predict is, and that's why I believe we're living in the best. And listen to me, the best age right now, because we get to experience life as individuals completely. And then after we get to experience these individual lives with all of the cool technology that's going to come off of the Unity consciousness, we're going to see people start uploading themselves, especially like the kids that we are going, like maybe our kids' kids will definitely be like consciousness uploading. And I'm not sure if I'm completely on board with that, because like it's a really difficult question, because then it comes back to,
there you go. There's the boundary of your limits, mate. And that is not something you can blame yourself for. It's because you can't. The same way our great grandparents couldn't comprehend internet or cell phones or Bluetooth or anything like that. They were like, this is witchcraft. Why do you think in the 14th century they were burning witches? They were coming up with some crazy shit that looked like black magic. Other people couldn't comprehend it and they thought it was against God. So they burned those people because they were like, this is not right.
And you do realize
Meanwhile,
that that's going to keep happening.
It was very right. It was the next step.
Yeah. So and that's what I'm trying to say, homie. I believe the next step is going to be a Unity consciousness. But the problem I have with it is, if I upload my consciousness, am I still me? And that question, the am I still me question, is something we ask ourselves literally every single day. And the answer is no. You aren't the you were yesterday, because you ate new food, you experience new things, and we're constantly molding, constantly changing into something that is not the me we remember. And maybe that's kind of the point. Maybe that's the thing I have to get over. But we are going to live very profound lives, dude. We're going to see some whack shit. And I'm looking forward to every single second of it.
Man, what a profound conclusion. I feel like to
end the stream
an hour and a half of absolute existential questioning and talking, and I love it, dude. It's absolutely one of my favorite things in the world to do is talk about things that we don't have answers for, because these days everything has an answer. You Google it and you know exactly what it is. You can't theorize about anything except existential questions.
Exactly,
And
dude.
and being able to talk and figure out who you are, because you learn, the best way to learn yourself is to talk about your opinions, because they might change in the conversation. So I'm very happy we've had this conversation, guys. It's been an absolute blast.
It really was. And Christian, thank you very much for joining us. I think this podcast would have felt incomplete without you here. So
Absolutely.
do feel free to join us next time, dude. I'm gonna insist on it even.
Chris?
Christian is AFK.
Wow, what a time.
Oh well,
What a
like better time than ever then, I guess. Leave him in the
day.
dark, dude, and he'll
Leave
never
him in the
know.
dark.
Johan, this was a great chat. I'm gonna upload the video to our YouTube channel and then I'll watch it with you, dude.
Dude, that will be absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna send my mom wanted to watch the live stream today if we did the live stream. Oh, cheers, Chris.
It's
I think
like
his internet might have
idle. Yeah, I think his internet might have died. But yeah, I'll
Um,
upload it and then I'll send you the link as well. Like it's probably gonna be on the channel, but I'll send you the link either way.
No, awesome, Estian. Estian, ek wil vir jou net sê, ek dink ons het ietsie. Soos regtig uit vandag se praat uit, dit was natuurlik. Nie een oomblik het ek gevoel ons het ietsie geforseer nie.
This is what we're capable of, man. Dit is letterlik, dis wie ons is en dis die lewe wat ons vir onsself wil bou en ek glo dis die lewe wat ons verdien.
En ek dink ook so, dude, weet jy hoe baie mense kan ons raak deur hierdie conversations te hê? Niemand, daar's so baie mense wat dit nooit het nie. En om te luister na iemand wat daaroor praat.
Dude, dit kom weer terug na die goeders wat jy binne jou lyf sit. Wees dit kos, wees dit video's, wees dit audio, wees dit musiek. Dit word deel van jou, dude. So ons kan met wat ons nou doen hierso deel word van iemand anders se lewe. En that's a profound thought, dude.
Ek's baie bly ek kan dit saam met jou experience en ek's baie bly ek kan dit vir mense gee.
Ek self, dude. Jy moet 'n baie lekker aand hê, man, Johan, en dankie weer eens. So.
Baie dankie, Estian. Baie liefde.
Baie liefde vir jou ook, man. Cheers.
Cheers.